meeting to order. Go ahead and start with the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anybody like to do the invocation? No volunteers? First thing we're going to do is go ahead and approve April's minutes, and then the first and second budget meetings we had. Everybody should have a copy. If you don't, let us know. Has everybody read them over? I'll give you a few minutes, and then if you want to glance through them, hopefully you read them over, and if you have any questions or any concerns, let us know.
Want to do roll call first?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's right, I didn't see it. Roll call, Risa.
Yeah.
George?
Yeah, just before you go, could we do complete first and last name?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because if you have more than one person with the same name, you don't know which one's
I understand, but
Okay.
I thought we only had one. So Risa Briggs?
Yeah.
George Kuntz?
here.
Hank Mass?
Yes.
Bill Starnes? Here. Robert Rodriguez here, and Steve Rhodes, Fire
Here.
Chief. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. It was kind of confusing with the budget people.
Okay.
Didn't know who was here.
Okay.
Because I had never seen some of them.
Okay.
All right.
Did you read them already? You did? Okay. You okay? You good with it, George?
I'm sorry?
Are you good with the minutes?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to entertain a motion. What I'd like to do first is approve the first two budget meetings,
The minutes.
the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the first two budget committee meeting minutes. That's April 27th and May 4th.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's been approved. And now, sorry, April 8th, regular meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
Make a motion to approve the regular business meeting minutes of April 8th.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approved. Thank you. We're going to go ahead with Bill with the treasurer's report.
Okay, I wrote 8 checks for a total of $3,459.70. We had a total deposit of $502.33, and we had a void check for $500 for a grand total of $80,145.28. And the equipment fund, we have a total of $220,467.20. We have a credit on the water of $89.73, and we have electric credit of $963.85.
Go ahead, Rita.
Okay, did you get a chance to get the debit card in with US Bank so that you can do the
They
online statement?
haven't notified me yet, it hasn't happened.
Okay, because I put the latest e-statement in the
Okay,
file folder.
okay, because he just told me that he'd contact me when he had the debit card. So I
Okay.
haven't heard anything.
Okay, nothing has changed, for the last month.
Right.
But it's in there.
Okay, all right.
Now, my next question goes to Steve. Do we have the bill from Liberty Mutual yet for workman's comp?
Yeah, we have 2 bills. I'm going to talk about that in my chief's minute.
Okay, all right.
They'll have their decision for the board to make.
And then my other question is, you need to give Bill the amount for the reimbursement from the equipment fund operations.
I got a piece of paper here showing you guys exactly how much we're talking about.
Okay.
And it just needs to be, I got a suggestion on how to take care of it.
Okay?
The general fund checking account, there, started from the start of last July when Susan Shepherd was still here, and then over the year, our QuickBooks hasn't been brought up to our new budget accounts yet. So some of the stuff was miscoded or hasn't been entered properly. So I've been keeping track of it and sitting on it because my intention was as soon as we go down to Wheeler's is if we get all this entered into the right account in QuickBooks, by June 30th, it'll all be done. It'll be like it never happened, and we'll be ready for an audit or in lieu of report. So there's $4,368 that were taken out of the general, that were paid out of the general fund checking account, which should have came out of the equipment reserve. And there's a list of the items that were involved. And my recommendation would just be to write a check from the equipment fund to the general fund checking account. And that's a transfer, but then this hasn't been entered in QuickBooks. Once we enter it into the QuickBooks Wheeler, it's all gonna show up as coming out of the right place where it should have the whole time. And at the end of the year, it'll all be balanced and done.
Should we just do a motion for that?
To write the check?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll entertain
I'll just make a motion then to do that transfer for reimbursement.
I'll second.
one. All in favor?
Aye.
The transfer? I'm gonna entertain a motion to pay the bills if nobody has any questions.
What happened to the Steve to share?
Didn't we talk about that last meeting?
Yeah, but it never got resolved.
Oh, it did. I'm sorry, I thought we did because of the two board meetings. What happened was I called Steve and he decided to waive the fee. He said the reason he was billing the department is because he spoke to you and George on numerous times and things got a little escalated, so he wanted something tangible in case it ever went to court, he could say that he provided a service. So he said, and I asked him if he would still represent the fire department, he'd be down the road for audits and so forth, and he said he won't take both feet out of the bucket, but he'll keep one in. But at this time, the balance with him is 0.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to pay the bills? I don't think I got a second.
I'll make a motion to pay the
No,
bills.
no,
Or
we
you-
did. You
you-
mean the transfer for this?
Oh, we did the transfer.
Yeah, okay, the rest of the bills?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Credit card update, we're gonna go over that now? We just talked about it, I remember that.
Well, we haven't, she's been taking care of the credit card part.
Okay,
Luckily, I have not heard back from Umpqua Bank saying it can't go through. So I take that as a good sign. Because they got the balance, the last thing I gave them was the balance sheets, and that was the last thing that they said they needed. So Megan hasn't gotten back to me saying they need anything else.
Megan is retired and quit last Friday. So now Ally's the new president. And she called me earlier in the week and said that she had gotten everything that everybody brought. And that's what it was as of now. So-
it's worthless?
No, it's not worth
Oh, I
it.
thought that's you.
That's where
Oh,
it
where
is.
it is,
Yeah,
okay.
she's sitting.
In other words, Megan, the lady that was working on it, the lady that was working on it's gone. And so they got a new president, just moved over there from the other office.
Okay.
Her name is
She's working on it.
Alice?
Ally?
Ally?
A-L-I.
Okay.
I thought it was worthless, that's why I asked.
No,
Please.
It's all right. All right, communication report, Hank?
Not much of one other than, I was just asking Bill, the policy, was I here at that meeting that we entertained which policy we were gonna? I know, I remember the 3 or 4 that I emailed Risa, right? And then I don't remember which one we entertained to bring to the table.
We had the webmaster, the web one we did,
Right?
because the ethic one is already done.
Yeah.
So the web was.
No, I know the ethic one is already,
Okay.
the web one is the one I'm talking about.
Have you received the policy I wrote?
Yeah, I did, but I didn't know what you guys had taken care of in the last meeting, so what it.
If it had been read or not.
Yes, it was, we did the first reading, and then there's, tonight, we'll have to, do some other corrections.
Okay, that's all I was kind of wondering, where you corrected it, right?
No, tonight we're going to do some corrections. Did you read the one that
Yes.
Jerry put online that
Yeah,
has
I
the
read
draft
it.
on it?
The one you emailed me, right?
That I emailed everyone, yes.
Yeah.
But did you see?
I just don't have it right here in front of me.
Did you see it online? Because that's the draft.
Yes, I just said that.
Okay, and you read it, so.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I just don't have it right here in front of me.
Okay.
I forgot to print it out. But that's all I got.
Okay, now we're gonna do the second reading of the information technology policy, which was formerly the web page policy. And who would like to read it?
Well, Hank should be reading
Well, I
it.
would if I had it, but I don't have it.
Can we burn a copy off?
No, what I'm going to do,
Yep.
okay, since I have it,
Yep.
is I've been going back and forth with Jerry a few times on some of the particulars, and I didn't do all of the corrections yet because one of the sticking points, if you want to call it that, is the responsibilities and maintenance and upgrades and upkeep, which I told Jerry, it falls under Steve's responsibility basically as the facility. However, this is why I want a discussion about this before we do the final wording, because I don't want to keep piling on Steve. And part of the problem is, we can write policy, but that doesn't necessarily mean anyone will follow it. So, from that point, I didn't know what else Jerry, I've read your suggestions. So, from that point on, what should we add? Because, I'm just asking you, because one of the things we changed is now it's called information technology policy. And I sent that out to everyone in case you didn't see it, but,
I didn't get that email.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah, 'cause
But
I
this is
didn't-
just one of the, this is just it's a minor thing, but like Jerry said, and I agree with him, it covers more. It's just more all-encompassing. Okay. Go
Did
ahead.
you want me to reply?
Please.
Okay. The thing that I brought up is that we ran into a problem a month ago or a few weeks ago at one of the Thursday night trainings where they were not able to get the laptop connected to the internet. There was a problem. So that's showing that I think we have something missing in the policy regarding who's responsible for the upkeep, maintenance, security updates of software, all those kinds of things of all the various kinds of equipment. We've got the laptop, the 2 desktop computers, there's an external hard drive for doing backups. Who's responsible for doing backups? What information should be backed up to the hard drive? Storage of the website, videos, there's all kinds of things, the printer, the router, all kinds of things that need to be maintained, and security updates like Windows just yesterday had some more critical updates. Is the Office computer getting those updates? Not all of them necessarily get done automatically. Somebody needs to check to make sure the computer gets updated.
Okay, well, this is my quandary, and Steve, I need to hear from you. Because I look at it this way, the board doesn't really use the computer that much, but Steve does. He has his laptop and he has the main functioning computer and the printer. I basically see the computer here now, since we are doing the bookkeeping and everything, that unless somebody wants to come down here and, like, if I wanted to come down and do the minutes, for instance, or something like that, I could.
Right.
But I don't choose to, but that's my, personal thing. I just need to know what Steve needs, because he's the one who really uses the computer the most.
I'm not up to date as, like on my personal laptops and stuff, everything happens automatically, and I just don't keep up with it. Jerry evidently is much more in tune with everything, then, maybe he could guide us on what we should be doing, and we'll take care of it. Because every time I hook into the internet, theoretically, it should update. Now, what happened with our laptop was it sat here for a year, we couldn't get on the website, and so it had a year's worth of updates as soon as we finally got on the website. So that was something.
My question is, I guess, between Jerry, you, the rest of the board, who wants to be the IT tech? Because that's basically what we're looking at.
I think if anybody has the qualifications and he's willing to do it, I'd like to see Jerry.
Well, but it's whether or not he wants to.
That's what I said, that's what I said.
If I may,
Mhm.
I don't think you want to write my name into the policy. I think you need to have a board member or Steve or somebody of responsibility in the district who is ultimately responsible, and then they can delegate authority if necessary to a community member, such as is being done right now for maintaining the website. So, you know, I'm dealing with some health issues now. I don't know how much longer I'll be able to keep up with this. Hopefully, you know, at some point, the board will be able to find another person, or at least a backup person, if at some point I'm no longer able to continue with this.
Well, my feeling, Steve, is that since in our bylaws, Article 14, it states that, you know, the facility is yours, and it
Yeah, that's
basically
fine.
is. But I would rather write it so that it says fire chief or designee, so
That's
that,
fine, yes.
is that gonna be okay?
Yeah, as long as my name's not on there, fire chief.
No, but, no, I don't put personal names.
No, that's fine, and then I'll find somebody to try to keep it up. And I'll work with Jerry as long as he can. He's been, if I'm here, he knows I'm here because we can see each other across the parking lot, and we get a lot of work done.
Wave. Okay, but that's basically the number one
Yeah.
thing we have to get past is who's, like you say, who's going to do this? Okay, so is it okay if I just work with you then? And Steve, if you have any other input, tell me, and I will just put that into the maintenance section. Is that okay, Jerry? Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Mark, did you have a question?
It was answered.
Okay.
I will say with Jerry's help, we had a training last night some web-based training last week. I'm not a big fan of all web-based training because a lot of departments just sit here and watch TV, and that's not how you learn the fire service, you learn by doing. But we had a good 30 minutes out of our 2-hour session where we were able to access some national stuff on firefighter drags and safety and CPR and rescuing down firefighters, and we worked that out before last week and worked out really well. So we're up online now on the web.
So you think once a month we should update your computer, turn it on just so it gets updated so you don't run into
Oh,
that
yeah.
situation again? Because when you weren't here, it was.
The laptop?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sort of a little fiasco.
I think we're gonna be using it a lot more, so I think that it's gonna get updated.
Okay, thank you.
Steve, did you switch the wires on the router? It used to be hardlined into the main computer, and you have to take that hard line off, put the yellow wire in for it to pick up
Yeah, we
the laptop.
yeah, it's all running, yeah. We got it all switched up, so.
One thing I think we need is to have the new computer run the printers. It doesn't do that. And I had a problem when I came in here last
Oh,
week.
to the new printer?
Yeah, I told you that, I left you a note, I think, about the old computer wouldn't run the Canon. It wouldn't work.
Yeah, it's dropping it every time,
So that,
so you have to restart the computer and then it picks the printer up. And sometime during the day, for some reason, it's dropping the printer and doesn't recognize it, and then it recognizes it every time it reboots.
are we going to surplus out the old computer system then and get it out
I
of
think
here?
that would be the thing to do, yes.
Okay.
Get it out of that desk.
Okay.
Is the new printer wireless?
The new printer is wireless, but we can,
You can hardline
Yeah,
it
we
or
can
your
hardline the
wireless.
other one too,
Yeah,
too.
you can do either one.
yeah.
To get it to work?
Yeah.
Okay.
That Canon's much more economical to use too, if all we need is black and white stuff.
Are we gonna have a reading of the,
Yeah,
or
I'd like
the,
to reset it, finish writing.
okay.
Go ahead.
Did you wanna, you said something, you would read it?
There's nothing else to change, that was
Okay.
the only change.
Okay.
And once I get that written up again, then we'll do the other reading at the June minute.
Okay. Okay. Right now, we're open for public comments. Any public comments? Okay. Chief's report?
I'll give you guys a copy. Should be as long this week. She submitted. One thing we are gonna talk about is workers' comp, so, I didn't copy too much stuff this week, but I just want you to see what we're doing here. You asked me about Liberty Mutual sent us 2 bills so far, and, they changed, the first bill was an error, and then they changed and got a second bill, which is due July 1st, by the way.
Thank you.
And then in the meantime, we got a quote back from SDAO for the, so I did a comparison for you, and then there's some board action that has to be taken whenever you guys want to do. I know which way I would go.
And I hear that.
Let's see, there's somewhere else in here. Where is it? Where's this? This is SDIS/SDAO's quote. That would be due August 1st, but we have to do a resolution next month that we want to join. So what happened was nationwide, workman's comp rates have gone up 17% this year. They had a bad year on volunteer firefighters across the country. So their rating, on the little summary I made, the rating has gone way up. So Liberty Mutual quoted us $3,458 a year on a $216 for $100 of our payroll, which last year was about $1.70. It's gone up quite a bit. SDAO, I've been working with them for the last couple months. We actually did a full-blown application. We're going to have to do it again, but I have all the information already, official application. And they quoted us $2,151.20 for next year. At the state firefighter rate, in Oregon, we're doing much better locally as far as firefighters getting injured, so the rate's $1.30 per $100 payroll. So, and that also includes the board also, like if you fell out of your chair here while you're having a meeting or something, you'd be covered. And Liberty Mutual would be. So you got 2 options as a stay with Liberty Mutual. We have to pay $819 deposit by July 1st. You could do that at the next meeting. And then there's going to be, then the rest would be an audit in January 2016, the remainder of the $3,400. Or we can sign and pass a resolution. And here's, I wanted you guys to see this resolution because the first time I read it, it's kind of confusing. What it means is that SDAO makes everybody sign this resolution. And it means that you're responsible for any past workman's comp stuff that happened before you join them. And if you ever quit SDAO, you're responsible for what happens after you quit. And so this would have to be a resolution in June. And then we would need to pay the $2,151 by August 1st to join them.
Steve, is there any reason that we would have anything in the background?
No, and that's something I got here. This here is gold. This is, what happens is a workman's comp rates you on 4-year periods, and this letter came from Liberty Mutual. We are clean for the last 4 years, actually for the last 8 years or 10 years. So
Don't lose that.
there's nothing behind us. As long as we stay with SDAO, and as long as the rates stay down, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's $1,300 a year less expensive. There's some plus and negatives. We've been at Liberty Mutual a long, long time.
Question.
Yeah.
let's say somebody, we join SDAO, and then somebody gets hurt, and then, we drop them. Are we responsible to pick up whatever, if the man is seriously injured for the rest of his life, we have to pick it up, or?
If we're with SDAO, what they're trying to say here is that anything that happened with Liberty Mutual or when we were uninsured, we cover. When we're with SDAO, and then if we went back to Liberty Mutual, anything that happened while we were with SDAO would still be covered by SDAO and us, so. Anyway, SDAO's been around for 28 years, they haven't gone broke yet, that's all I can tell you. And that was the sales pitch they gave me. And they seem to be healthy right now. Yeah.
So now, which one do you think is better?
Well, I'm recommending that we do it. We switch to SDIS or SDAO.
Okay.
That's my choice. Nationwide, you know, this is kind of just a one-time thing. Oregon, we've had a real good safety record the last few years, and nationwide they haven't. So I don't know if that's going to change or not. Long-term, the rates seem to be pretty stable, and they're more, with SDAO, they're more like they were with Liberty Mutual a few years ago. It's just a benefit of being in that group. We already are in SDAO because of all the other insurance we have, so. But it's up to you guys. So, well, one last thing that's going to happen is that we have about $1,200 on deposit with Liberty Mutual. And at the end of the year here, it usually comes by now, but it should be here in the next few weeks. There'll be an audit for the last 6 months, and they'll determine how much we owe for half the year's premium, which is going to be somewhere right around $1,200 to $1,500. So we're going to still have to pay that anyway, because that's basically last year's
The past.
money. But we have $1,200 on deposit, so it's not going to be, I'm going to guess it's going to be between $0 and $500 at the most for what we need them.
What, I want to, make a motion to switch over to SDAO, SDIS.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor of switching over our insurance from Liberty Mutual to SDAO?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so what's going to happen then is I'm going to submit the full application to them, and then we'll have to notice the next board meeting also, because this will be they want you to put our resolution number, whatever it is. This is going to be probably 15. Well, there's going to be other resolutions for the budget that night, so this
Yeah.
might be number 2 or 3 or something.
There's already one in there, so that,
Okay. So, but anyway, that'll just have to be signed. If you see it, the chairman of the board has to sign it, and then some other witness. And then we don't have to pay anything until the July meeting. We could write the check and have it into them by August 1st. Okay?
Mark?
Does that create a gap between the end of July 30th and
No.
July meeting?
We actually, on the resolution, it starts July 1st, whether we paid, annually paid August 1st.
Like before.
Okay.
Okay. And you still have more?
Yeah.
I was gonna let you
You
do
guys
that.
have- So anyway, that took care of the, incidents. April was a slow month. We had 8 total calls, 5 medical, 3 structure fires. They were all in our surrounding areas, Winston-Dillard, 10 Mile, and Douglas Fire Protection District 2. Let's see, we had one at we've been having our monthly fire down at RFD. We had another one out at 10 Mile on Suicide Creek, I think it was. And with Douglas 2, we were out on Valley way out off the orchard out there. Training, emergency medical responder, the paperwork was all turned in, it's on its way, and you guys wrote the check last month. We had pipeline training here with Northwest Pipeline on April 16th. It was a really great class. The guy had some pyrotechnics and stuff going off and kept all the firefighters entertained. But we learned a whole bunch, and it was fun. Our DFPA training, our annual training was canceled. They've already had a fire. That was scheduled for last week, and they're going to reschedule that. And Avista Gas will be here tomorrow night. They're the local natural gas providers. We got a firefighter 1 class with Explorers will be starting up May 21st. And we also have 3, I think, rookies that will be in that. And we're going to approach 10 Mile, see if they have some help. May 2nd, cleanup day parade. We sold ice cream and about 200 meals. made some money for our Christmas and scholarship charities. It was a pretty small parade this year, but we still did all right. Our explorers and junior firefighters were out there that day. They did some public relations stuff out there with we got the firehouse from Winston that they could shoot water at and stuff, so that was okay. The Explorer Junior Firefighter Program. I'm gonna do a quick summary of this, and I'll ask Tom if he wants to say anything else, if that's all right. We decided to align ourselves with the Boy Scouts Explorer Program, so it's gonna be a fire post number 667, which is our pager number. A representative will be here May 21st, and they're gonna sign up with all the kids and their adults and kick it off. Vietnam Vets Post 805 here in Umpqua donated $1,000 to jumpstart the program, so all the kids will be able to sign up free this year. There's a fee to join Boy Scouts and all that stuff. So, and they'll have some money left over for t-shirts and all of those stuff. The good thing about the Boy Scouts is they assume all liability for insurance and medical. They vet or background check all of our instructors and our adult leaders, so it releases us out of a lot of liability. We'll be fitting into an existing statewide program. We've got a pretty good turnout already. Between 6 and 9 kids have been showing up, and Lindsay and Captain Johnson have been doing a really good job. They brought it up really fast, and they're doing it the right way, so I'm really happy with that. Do you have anything else you want to say, Tom, about it?
No, you covered it, Steve.
Okay. It's going to come off good. I think it's going to be good. Got some good kids in it, too. May 30th. Oh, you saw that there's a new banner out there on the fence that the association covered for the Explorer programs. We're advertising that. May 30th is a fundraiser. We're doing an auction. We're going to be runners for an auction down at Seven Feathers, just to remind everybody of that. It's American Hunting Association, and they do a big auction down there. I think we're going to be splitting $500 with the Grange for our charities of our choice. So. Going into equipment, 1080, the first FEMA monies have been awarded. Every Friday, there's a new round, so they're into round 3 so far. The money will start, and it'll end being dispersed sometime in September. So I keep looking every Friday. Anybody else can look every Friday if they want to, also on the FEMA website, and see how we're doing. Let's see, tires. I talked to you guys last month about the tire purchases. That was the last major purchase we had this year for our vehicle operations account. So I got the bids around for 2 each Michelin tires for engine 1030 and 2 each for 61. And the bids are there, and the least expensive on both was Industrial Tire. Industrial Tire and GCR, which is up by Pape, way up there on the north side of town. They're doing a GSA government type contract, so they're pretty similar in price. And I bought some tires recently at Costco, and I got a really good price, but they weren't so good on the chart tires. But then that's not a government contract either. So I'm looking for approval to do that, and I'm going to try to get it done just before the next June meeting, so that Industrial doesn't have to sit on the bill very long. Is that all right with you guys?
So Industrial Tire is the way you want to go?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to get the tires at Industrial Tire for the rigs.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Go ahead and do it, Steve.
Okay, I forgot what I was going to say about that, but thank you very much. We'll take care of that. Inventory for the equipment, we added some goggles to Wildland PPE, we got some more bundle straps, and we got a new adapter on 1030 that we can adapt to the suction hose on our water tender, which gives us a lot more ability to suck water with engine 1030.
Did we find that chain, the one that we were missing?
I have not found the tow chain as of yet, so we're still looking for that. We did inventory. I inventoried with Robert last month, 1031. We had some issues on some stuff moved around. In the last, I know those extension cords go all the way back to Christmas when we were using them for Christmas lights. I think they got put in the wrong place, so we're running all those down.
Okay.
Oh, what I wanted to tell you about the tires was that's the last major purchase for the vehicle operations account. We're about 75% what we budgeted for last year. We had a big time saving in fuels this year because fuel prices are down all year. Roseburg just called me the other day, they're doing some more pump tests. They split their fleet and pump test twice a year. We got in on the one last September, October or so. So we're gonna keep on doing that. What that allows us to do is to save us about $100 a unit when we pump test with them. And we already had some quotes from the guys that used to do it here, and they were about $100 to $150 more. So that's been working out really good. We get us, a couple other volunteer departments in the area, we all meet at the Roseburg Public Safety Center and do pump tests together. So, let's see, facility, the first pest control visit got made, and we set up a schedule for the rest of the year.
How frequent is it going to be making
Quarterly.
quarterly?
They want to do monthly because they use insecticides that are less strong, so they don't affect people's health. So we're gonna kind of see how that goes, but I set up for the first year to do it quarterly, and we'll see how if it stays good. We haven't had a real big problem other than spiders, so.
Like you said, the mice or rats.
And rats. We're gonna take care of the rats ourselves with some of those rat holes.
Rat bars.
Yeah. Painting. The painting took place from May 3rd to May 5th. The front of the station was pressurized, washed again, and the front half doors, and we rewashed the rear of the building with our brush truck, as a matter of fact. Everything was painted except the graphics, which we're going to touch up. We've been working on pieces of that already. And then we have some leftover paint for touch-ups and maybe do some of the miscellaneous buildings around here too, make sure everything matches. I think it came out real good. I was pretty impressed with the guy. In fact, he's doing a bid on my house next, so. A really good guy. He's a local guy, and he does a real good job.
It looks nice.
It looks really clean. We're still debating what we're gonna do about graphics and stuff around here. He's more of a painter than I was, and we're kind of out there going, you know, it looks pretty clean the way it is. I don't think we're gonna mess with it much more than that. Just keep it a nice, clean looking building, kind of subdued in that gray and white. We did redo the shutters, but they're now gray instead of red. And that was paid this meeting, by the way. Accounting, we compiled this, all the paid bills and income, and some of that was part of the sheet I gave you about the stuff in the accounts. And we're gonna set up with Wheeler, with myself and Bill, and we'll bring up QuickBooks all to date, and then we'll be all reconciled before the end of the year. So we should be ready for either in lieu report or an audit, whatever's best. We're under budget by, let's say, 25% at least, maybe more. So we'll know more about that here. There's some purchases being done right now, and that's going to be the end of it. The budget committee the budget was approved by the budget committee last week. June 10th will be the hearing for the adoption. And the LBF1 and the notice will be in the paper by May 22nd. And then I'll have all the resolutions and other stuff ready for the hearing at the same time. There's copies outside the box for the public if anybody wants to see it. We talked about the balance sheet, credit card already. I wrote down here Staples. I'm applying for a corporate account at Staples, so we won't have to worry about office supplies anymore. They have a 30-day same as cash, just like we have at other places around here. So we'll be doing that. And then workers' comp comparison, we already talked about that. We're gonna be doing a burn Saturday on Orr Lane, the old Jacoby's structure. And let's see, May 30th charity. Wings and Wheels on July 18th, I think is right, George?
Yeah, that's the last I heard.
We're gonna try to have a unit down there.
Do you want to put up a poster?
Hey, yeah, we'll pull it up, yeah. Can you get one?
I can get you one after the meeting.
And the last thing I had on here was June 8th is the OSHA hearing, the public hearing. They're holding public hearings on the firefighter OSHA all through the state. It's going to be held at the Roseburg Public Safety Center that morning at 8 o'clock, I think. So I'm going to attend that. I've been involved in it since it started, so I'd like to see how it's going. And that is it.
Is that when they'll finalize those rules for firefighters then?
Right,
Okay.
they have a few more dates set. They're working from north to south. I think they're gonna go to Medford and maybe, I think that's it as far as going south, so that'll be the last public hearing.
Thank you. Old business, I already went over with Steve Wheeler's contract. Yeah, I found that a little odd.
Well, do you want to?
Well,
I got the numbers from Bill.
Yeah, we have the.
So, yeah, I got the numbers, so I'll write it up, and he's on vacation for a
Yeah.
couple weeks.
Yeah.
So I'll have it before the next meeting, I'll have everything done.
Just make a copy of the thing I handed you that says right on there what
What
they
it'll
were
do.
in charge.
Okay. that's
In
what
case
I'll
they
do.
don't remember.
I just, no, I wrote it all down, but I wanted to make sure that
I
everything
tried to
was
get
supposed to
to
be
see
in the
him,
contract.
even earlier, and he was jamming till the 15th, and then
Spending all the money he made.
yeah, he's out of town.
If you need me to help you with that, Robert, I will.
Okay, I'll get ahold of you so we can do it, so I can take care of it.
Okay.
Anything else on the old business?
I'd like to ask Steve a question about the brush rig. Have you given it any thought about the one that I suggested you should?
Yeah,
use?
we've talked, and that was one we originally looked at that one too, George.
Yeah, I know we did, and I told you that would really fit in well with the dual purpose.
Right. It's a nice looking rig. I can tell you, I talked to the company, and that rig that you have, the picture, has a 300-gallon tank. And
300?
Yeah, and
Well-
we talked to them about that, they said with that suspension, I didn't, we're still working on the final specs, but with that suspension, they can't go 600. So they have to go back to being a conventional dually, which is fine too.
But couldn't you supplement it with another vehicle or pumper to lay a hose to supply water if one of the heavier rigs can't get up there, for instance?
Yeah,
You could lay a hose and supply water even though that rig can only hold 300 gallons, correct?
right, and that's what we're working on that too. On many of our, the problem areas we have, like the Ore Lane thing we're doing this week, this happens to be two of the houses that are past the bridge we can't cross.
Right.
So it's about 600 feet past, so we can deal with that. But if I got something that's a mile past, well, that, I don't have enough. Well, I guess if I had every hose from every mutual aid, we might be able to lay a mile, but,
Yeah.
our intention is to, I'm trying to get, like we've been talking about, 400-500 gallons of water. I'm trying to stay with that 550 chassis, so we have the mobility. And then also have a pump capable that if we can get a hose to it, that it can pump. Or we can either run water straight through it, or we can pump at a higher capacity. So-
Okay, and if FEMA doesn't come through with a grant, we still have plenty of money to purchase that outright if we had to, correct?
Right, that was approved.
Would you consider that?
Oh, yeah, I'm
Okay.
considering everything,
All right.
yeah.
New business. First thing I'd like to just bring up is if anybody here hasn't voted yet, it'd probably be a good time to vote because I noticed they did come into the mail. I won't persuade you one way or the other. I don't think I have an option.
Are you gonna skip over to Steve Fisher and?
No, we already talked about
Oh, we did that? Okay.
Do that.
I must have missed it.
Yeah, so make sure you vote. The other thing for new business that was brought to my attention via an email, in March minutes, we're gonna have to go back and, I guess the proper word is amend, because there was a statement read by Mrs. Albertsons that never hit it into the minutes.
Oh, okay.
So we've gotta go back and amend that to put that, because that was the final statement that was missed. So if we could do that, and then we'll
Sure.
bring it up at the next meeting. Okay, thank you. Anything else for, oh, go ahead.
Well, you're touching on the election. The candidate for position 5, in case anybody doesn't know, is Brenda Epp, and she's sitting right over there. She's been at a few of our meetings, made a couple of the budget meetings. I've talked to her a little bit about the budget and all that stuff and what's been going on around here. But there she is, and she,
Like to say,
she's running unopposed, and she has a little history as far as board members as a secretary, I think, of the Farm Bureau, right, statewide? So, and she's,
Well, in the Douglas County.
and she's retired banker, so that's a good thing to have on our board, I think.
Yeah, I'm retired. I got time now.
anything else you'd like to say?
I've been to some of the meetings. I don't think I need to have been to every one of them. I did go online and look at the past minutes. And now that I'm retired, I figure I'll just get more involved in community, real close community as opposed to
Excellent.
farther out.
Thank you for running. Next one is Hank's missed a few meetings, so the rest of the board would
I
like to.
kinda got a letter to take care of that. And note to self, this is not a letter of resignation by any means. You guys can take a look at that, and I'm gonna read it to the public. I got a couple more if you guys want it. Like I said, this ain't a letter of resignation, but this is a letter in regards of my absence of the board meetings and the last 2 budget meetings. As some of you know, my wife and I, in the last 2 months, have ventured out and started our own business. And I have been working out of town between 2 or 3 days a week. By happenstance, some of those days have fallen on the days of the meetings. I would like the public and the fire department to know that I have been in contact with the board president, Robert Nabriga, and informing him of my unfortunate absences. As the last budget meeting, I was en route, but there was an accident on Highway 42. I think I called Steve, and involving a chip truck and on its side in the middle of the road. I was unable to make the meeting. So, I mean, it's kind of an act of God. I mean, I'm sorry. Anyways, I apologize for my absence and hope that the members of the board and members of the community who own a business know that there's no such thing as 9 to 5 working hours. I appreciate the opportunity to be a member of this board and look forward to the future of this fire department. If there are members of the fire board department or the community have an issue with my absence, there are proper procedures, policies in place to inform the board president and the issue that can be discussed in public board meetings. So that way we can minimize the personal attacks that tend to happen by board members. I am very approachable and teachable person. I am very approachable and teachable person, and want what is in the best interest of the department and the community. When I was appointed onto this board and was given the position of the communications officer, I was very unaware of what that title entailed. Now being in this position, I feel that I am not necessarily filling a position that is generally towards the strength I feel that poses, and would like to entertain looking into being appointed another position, even if that means not being a board member at all. I have thoroughly enjoyed my time on the board, and I hope that we can find a spot for everyone that is working with each individual strengths.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Are you willing to be the communication manager until after the vote?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have anything they'd like to say, or?
Yeah, I would ask the question. Hank, in December, you made the comment that you would meet with Jerry, myself, and even Robert volunteered to start writing the policy that was your responsibility. You never set up an appointment. You never helped with it. You never met with any of us. And my biggest problem is, all the time that this has been in the process, I haven't heard one single word from you. Not even the fact that you received the policy drafts when I sent them out. It can't work that way. I mean, at least I could have heard that you got it, or that it was going in the direction you thought it should go, or that you wanted to help with it. You never contacted me or Jerry, I believe, not one time. And it's been several months. I mean, I have to have some response, or you're just not making enough effort for me. Am I wrong?
Thanks for your opinion.
Am I wrong?
I didn't say you were right, wrong, or
Well,
indifferent.
am I wrong to expect
But
you to
I
at
think
least
I
respond?
pretty much, didn't I made it pretty clear that I was not acting and doing all my responsibilities? Did I not just say that?
Okay, so now you're asking us,
Robert asked me if I would maintain what I did, and it sounds like that you and Jerry, I could be a little bit more involved in the emails and stuff of what you guys have been doing, but it seems like to me, what I got out of the meeting, maybe the community could answer it too, is that you two have pretty much got it under control. And I can go back and dig into my emails.
but it's not our responsibility.
I didn't
It's
say
yours.
it was, but when
Okay,
the
let me
emails
ask you this.
stop,
Let me ask you this. Since there are corrections.
I'm not gonna sit here and argue.
I'm not arguing, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Since there are corrections that have to be made, and you said you're teachable and you're open,
That's great.
when would you like to meet with Jerry and
I
I?
don't think that we really need to meet other than we can just email back and forth.
When would you
I
like
don't
to
feel
meet with
comfortable
Jerry and
meeting.
I to finish the corrections and finish the policy?
I think we can do it via email. How's that sound?
I would rather do it in person.
That's great.
Sometimes if you pencil it out, it does go a lot quicker.
Well, maybe we can figure that out. I'm not opposed to that, I should say.
Jerry?
Jerry, sorry.
My concern, Hank, is that over the past month and a half to 2 months, I sent you over 6 emails. And during that time, I received 1 email from you, and your response was received. That's not communicating. That's not being actively involved. You said right now you told Robert you're willing to continue on as communications officer to the end of this year. Are you going to respond to emails? Are you going to be actively involved, following through on your
I'll do my
responsibilities?
best. I will do my best.
I don't know that I can accept that.
Thank you.
I think the problem is talking to Hank, because, you know, obviously I'm here for the goodness of the board, I'm sorry.
John has a question.
Okay, go ahead, Molly.
I can,
Okay, I've talked to Hank, and I think the problem is the ability to work his way through a computer is probably an issue. And everybody fears jumping into something they're not comfortable with. I think if Hank took the time to just meet with Jerry and with Riso, it would make things a lot easier for the next couple months. Because those are things that still need to be addressed for the good of the board, or for the good of the fire department, the good of the rules. But I think that it's gonna be an open communication, and, you know, I'll try. I'd rather you say, yeah, I'll do it, I'll meet with you, and then just pick a time that's good for you, because you do own a business, and I understand that you're on the road. And, you know, and live up to that commitment of showing up for them, because I'm here to support all the people of the board and all the people of the community.
so are you gonna pick up the slack if they don't do it?
They can call me, I'm always approachable.
Okay.
Yvonne?
In Hank's defense, when the new board came on, nobody had to write their own policy. The whole board did it, and they had it before they even came to the meeting. It was pretty much done. So no one's ever had to do what you guys are asking Hank to do,
So-
and write their own policy.
So I guess my question is, hold on, George, my question is, because it wasn't obligated to just one person, how could we do that when we can't meet? Does that make sense? Because I'm new to this, so I'm just trying to
They all
figure.
sat at the table,
Mhm.
and they came,
And just
not
came
just
up with
once a
it.
month, they came every week and
Mhm.
discussed all of this, and hashed over what the policy should say, and they wrote it. They didn't
I understand.
usually write their own.
Well, Robert,
So why is it
I-
different?
when I talked to Roy about this, you know, and he gave me the policies of like numerous ones, I don't ever remember telling that we had to rewrite the whole thing. We could just entertain one and just maybe change a couple things to where it was worded to best fit us. So, I mean, I'm just saying.
I think it's a good idea to meet.
I don't have enough time to sit down for 4 hours and rewrite, you know, on 2 or 3 occasions, you know, it's just one of those things. I have a wife and kids, and I work 10, 15 hours a day. Not a crutch, I'm just saying.
I like the idea of meeting and writing the policy or procedure due to the fact is everybody's input's right there, and you hash it out right there, and then it's done. I think that's a pretty good idea.
Well, basically, it's written, there are only just some corrections.
Make the
Okay.
corrections.
The corrections and get it over with. God, this is going on forever. I've never seen anything drugged to the dirt.
Okay, hold on a second, go ahead.
Okay, I mean, it's not that you're failing, you're a busy person, okay? And your wife and family come first.
You're right.
And if this little bit of stuff is causing conflict and you not be able to do your new job and stuff, you know, I hope you'd be man enough just to come in and say, hey, man, it's getting over my head.
Well, that's what my letter was intended,
Yeah.
is that maybe this spot in particularly isn't my spot on this board.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel that I've helped in a lot of other ways, but it's just, one thing is just not my thing,
Yeah.
you know?
It is your thing.
So
Well,
it's just,
You know, don't let your family and your business
yeah, I mean, so.
suffer because.
I'm not saying that I'm giving up, I'm just saying that maybe somebody else that after the vote, we can figure out that, man, okay, you're really the job for this and I'm something else, whatever.
I understand that. So can you
Yes, Robert, I will.
commit to
Can we sit
finishing?
down?
Yes, commit to finishing with Risa and Jerry, so we get that done, because I don't think we're gonna have anything big come up in the next 2 months. We might, I'm not gonna promise you, but if we do, we should all sit down at this table and do everything done.
Well, I don't, there's, Risa, I mean, in the next question, you just said there's only a couple more things, we're done, right?
So you want me to
Fix it.
do it?
Well, you said it's
So
already
you want me
done.
to do
You
it?
gotta change a few words.
If we're that far into it, I
Is
would.
that what you're asking?
Yes.
You do everything else.
Ask me to do it.
Are you gonna finish them for us, for the board? Are you gonna finish?
Do you want me to do it for you?
It's not for me, it's for the board and the
Well, no,
community.
but you're asking me to do,
Whatever, yes.
okay, fine.
Risa, so are you gonna,
I will
if
finish
you need
it.
help, you can call me.
I will finish it. I
Thank
will
you.
work with Steve, I will work with Jerry.
Thank you. Mark, you had a question? No? Okay. Okay.
Forget about me.
Go ahead, George.
I would like to respond to Yvonne and ask her a question. When I was elected to the board, I was given a manual that I read from cover to cover in an hour and 45 minutes. So there was nothing in there that was up to date. The last up to date, I've even got the manual at home, I could give it to you. But when was the last time you were on the board?
I don't
2008?
know what that has to do with this
Well,
board.
what I'm trying to get at is, they're supposed to be checked over, and if there are amendments, they should be in there, they should be dated and signed. None of that had ever happened. And then we go back a long ways. So the manuals were non-existent.
Okay, but we're all up to date now, is that
Yes,
correct?
we are.
Okay, I just wanna make
Yes, we
sure.
are.
Okay,
But
but I
I
think,
don't think we should use that as a comparison.
I don't, hold on a minute before it gets out of hand. I think what she said was that everybody on the board sat down and went ahead and made these rules, the procedures that we follow.
Have you looked at the old manual?
I don't have the old
We're
manual.
talking about the old manual, we're talking about your current manual.
Then why criticize the one we put together?
Your current manual is what I'm referring
There,
to.
I don't think there was a criticizing. Okay, yes.
There was 2 months of weekly meetings that everybody sat there. Bob was president and everything was done, the public gave input. Doesn't go clear back to when she was on. It goes back to when they first started, the new board.
Okay,
We
so,
came to the meetings.
Are you saying that our manual was no good, that we should not be using it?
I'm saying you got
okay, I
everybody
think we,
rewrote it.
I think we've made this point. I think we've made this point, and I think going forward, what we should do is if we do come up with a new procedure, we should probably just line it up, make a meeting. People want to come, they can attend, and we can just go over and make these, so nobody's inundated with overabundance of work.
Well, I sense a lack of appreciation for what the board has done in the last 2 years. And I really
I'm sorry,
worked hard.
George, I understand that, and I support the board 100%, but I didn't get that, so.
And Risa has put in an inordinate amount of time writing policies and getting things together. I think she should be recognized for that.
She has been, George, thank you, she has been.
Not near enough.
I'm sorry, it doesn't meet your specifications, but we're gonna move on. Hank, you have something there?
No,
Okay, thank you, Hank. Anybody else on the board? Did you have a question?
No, I don't have a question. I have a comment if I may make it now.
Positive. Positive? Okay, good.
I'm a taxpayer,
Uh-huh.
and take their time out to come down here.
George?
I'm a taxpayer too.
And I really resent the fact that several of the board members have sat here and badgered another board member that wasn't even here to defend himself. That really bothers me. And now I'll listen to you, George.
I would like for you to be specific. Who?
You
I-
just sat here and badgered a taxpayer.
Badgered who?
A taxpayer.
I'm a taxpayer too.
Yeah, you're
I
a
have a
board
right to
member.
ask questions
You're
of the
very
taxpayer. You want me to come out here and
unprofessional
sit and ask
Okay,
as
we
a
don't-
taxpayer? I can do
Appreciate
that.
it. We did, we can go back and forth on this all
Well,
day long.
Tom's the one that brought it up, not me.
No, I think we got a point. Okay. Anybody else from the board? Any board comments? You all good? Public comments, not on the agenda? One?
Just one. In March, the meetings reflect that, and in the meeting, that Risa said that it had been past practice to allow board members to contact an attorney.
Mhm.
I went through every minute and all of your policies, and I was at every meeting since before the new board came on, and I never found anything pertaining to that. And the reason I went back and looked is because I have been here, and there's never been any mention of it. So, Risa, could you bring to the next meeting that document that states that you guys,
It's in our files, I can get you a copy tonight of all the times that Bob Russell, for instance, called Eileen. It's listed on her bill.
well, but you made the statement, what I mean.
And
what I'm
that's not
talking about
precedent,
is that
that's
it
a
was
precedent.
okay to do that.
That set a precedent and it was never changed.
We made it to where we can't do that.
Yeah, we changed
I
that.
realize that, but I just,
Oh,
for
okay.
clarification.
I thought-
because I don't
No,
remember.
prior to that, it was done, like I
It
said.
was done, but
Yes.
it wasn't discussed. If
Okay.
you could.
Well,
That's what I was wanting.
right, I can give you a copy of the bill because that shows the cost.
That's not what I wanted, but that's okay.
Okay,
I'm just making my statement that I don't recall ever hearing that.
well, it wasn't an issue. I mean, it never came up as an issue as far as whether a
Until-
board member could or not until we voted on it. And,
Right.
okay,
Now we're all on the same page. It's gonna cost money, the board's gotta approve it. Anything else? All good? Okay, I'm gonna, next meeting is June 10th. It is at 6:30 because the complete budget will be presented. I work until 6, so I will get here just as fast as I can, which should still be within the guidelines. I just want to throw that out there now. And then after the 6:30 meeting will come our normal meeting. I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Good, George?
Abstain. You don't want to ever let me talk, so. You know, you did it twice to me already.
George, all I want to do is